It was another quiet night at the office. No phone calls, no messages, nothing but junk mail and overdue bills to keep me company. Seems nobody wants to hire a real private dick anymore, a professional like me. A guy who does the detective work nobody else wants to do. A guy who wears hats and walks around in a black and white world. I began contemplating a more profitable line of work, like politics.
We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to you.
All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show here on AMA 30 WCRN Radio Central. You can join the conversation for the next hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. And don't forget, we do have our text line. Our text line is real simple, and you text it like you would anyone else at 617-297-8388. 617-297-8388. Now, we have a screen here in the studio. It appears on there in real time. We try to work it into the conversation. A lot of you can't make the phone call, but you can send a text, so you can do that. And, of course, you can listen to the station by tuning into AM 830, but you also have the option of the TuneIn app. So we stream 24/7 to the TuneIn app like thousands of other radio stations do. You can tell Alexa to play WCRN. She'll do that, no questions asked. And, of course, I do stream the show, video and audio, so you can watch it and listen to it on X or Facebook, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile. And we do stream live to the Joe Mangiacotti Show channel on Rumble. So check it out. Many ways to listen, many ways to watch and participate for that matter. Today, behind the glass, flying the board, as I broadcast from our palatial but not overly ostentatious studios here, atop the Carberry Towers in Westboro, Massachusetts. 508-871-7000 to get into the conversation for that two-way talk and conversation. Pretty much Thursday, it's the last day of the week for me to do the show on Fridays. You know the Carr Brothers come away at 1 o'clock. So we do like to leave the lines open more than normally to bring up something that you'd like to talk about. I'm thinking of diving into maybe 3 types of stories that we've got going on over here in there. They're on. Ted, did you want to add to the table?
Spring, Joe.
Yes, today is the first day, the equinox. So we have even day today, right? 12 hours a night, 12 hours of daylight in theory. The equinox. So this is the beginning of spring. Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but you know what? We need the moisture in the water to kickstart the lawns and the gardens.
It's going to be nice this afternoon.
And I'm going to put some plants out on the balcony. I hadn't, since I moved into the new place, I hadn't had any plants. And the one that kicked it off was actually the one the farmer's dog sent. About a week after Teddy passed away, I came home to a box, and the farmer's dog, they had sent, I had told the story of the beautiful email from the owner a couple of days after I let them know to cancel, future orders. Not only did they send back this wonderful 5 or 6 paragraphs, saying how much their sympathy and sorry Teddy's gone. And I told the story then. They must have done a pretty big deep dive on social media because they referenced Teddy's being a mascot and doing pet rock. And they refunded the money, which of course they didn't have to do. And that month's food from the farmer's dog, I donated to Bay Path Humane Society in Hopkinton. They were the benefactors of that. But about a week later, I came home to a package and there was this beautiful plant with a card from the farmer's dog. And that kicked off, I still have it. It's been tough to keep that particular plant alive, but I've added about 5 or 6 more house plants. So now I'm a plant daddy and I don't have Teddy. So I have to keep the plants alive. And we're keeping Teddy's plant alive in his memory. So that's a new thing for me. You got to put each plant in a different spot. Some need a little more light. Some, you know how it works. So you got to figure that out. And yes, I lost a couple of them. So
gotta feed them, Joe.
I do. I leave here and I stop at Lowe's next door to the garden section, and I got the plant food and the stands and beautiful pots and all that. But let's get into this, folks. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. So Mayor Wu, fiery state, state of the city speech. She delivered it in her city address, doubling down, actually, guys, on her progressive policies while taking direct aim at both state and federal leaders opposing her agenda. Right? How dare you? She pushed for more aggressive climate policies, police reform, expanded sanctuary city protections. You'd think she could read the room on that one. I don't know. Calling out what she's referring to this as right-wing fear-mongering over illegal immigration. How does your mind work? How do you get there? Right-wing fear-mongering. When you report or point out the rapes, the murders, the child abuse, the scams, the thefts, how is that fear-mongering? And shame on the media outlets who don't accurately cover. And to those, and I've always said this, it's not always the actual talking head or the actual reporter. I put the blame on the news directors and the editors. They're the ones who decide what is news, what isn't news, and what's get printed or gets on the air, Ted. You want to add?
You know what? There's a gang war going on in Boston, and it hasn't been reported. It's been going on for 3 or 4 weeks.
They call it the city legislature, don't they? The city government.
No. I'm talking about on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gang war going on. There's AK-47s going around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And people are desperately in fear.
So this is my point. If the media reported accurately on this going on, and they should, and the people of Boston and Boston area should know what's happening, truthfully what's happening. But she would call that fear-mongering. Instead of concentrating on why it's happening and how it's happening, she's focusing on the fact that you pointed it out or noticed it. That's not the problem. Wu also vowed to fight Governor Haley's calls for fiscal restraint. It's like living in opposite world. Instead, pledging to raise taxes on big businesses. That's what she thinks is the good thing to do. And continue funding controversial housing initiatives that have turned neighborhoods into basically taxpayer-funded migrant camps. And to do that, you're taking ballparks away, you're taking rinks away, you're taking indoor basketball courts away.
Of all kinds.
Yeah, and the people who actually make all this happen, who pay their taxes to fund these things, they're now unable to use the benefits of living in that neighborhood. And let's face it, if you're an owner, your taxes, property taxes, your water bill, sewer bill, all very elevated. And if you're a renter, that's being transferred to you in the form of higher rents, which are killing people, especially younger people trying to start out to how can you save when you're paying $3,000, $3,800, $4,200 a month for a basic apartment? It's even if you're making good money, it's a difficult way to start life.
And you better be riding a bike because there's no place to park.
No place to park, and and check out what it costs to have a vehicle registered in Boston. And I had a brownstone in Boston one time, and the car, to get the permit for the neighborhood and all that, it has to be registered there. So you can't register at mom and dad's house or something in the burbs. To get the parking permit, and I was in the South End, and to be able to park there, you had to prove that the car was registered to that address. And between the excise tax and your insurance. Yeah, exactly. So the speech loaded with partisan attacks is already stirring debates, right, over whether Boston is doubling down on policies that are driving businesses and longtime residents out of the city, and for some of the reasons that I just mentioned. So the question is, how far is too far? Wu's speech makes it clear she is all in on progressive policies, but at what cost to the taxpayers and, more importantly, to the public safety? Where is it there? A sanctuary city showdown. With illegal immigration already a hot topic nationwide, is Boston's leadership making the city less safe by refusing to cooperate with federal law enforcement? And remember, you even had the police commissioner mouthing off to Tom Homan about this issue. And Tom Homan, I don't think it scares him or intimidates him. Matter of fact, I think he said, I'm coming to Boston and I'm bringing hell with me, or something to that effect. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. it's going to happen. One of these showboating politicians is going to go over the line. And we know that Tom Homan has already reached out to DOJ to ask that exact question, by the way. Where is the line? Where is it? When do they go from being blathering politicians to interfering or aiding these felons in avoiding ICE? Where's the line? Show me where the line is, because when they put a toe over it, we're grabbing them. And there's going to be some blue city mayor, maybe a governor, or some state rep or state senator who is going to go too far. And the argument's going to be made that they are aiding and abetting or assisting in their escape by, look at AOC put that video out with all those tips. That's one of the things that triggered Homan to ask, is that too much? Did she go over the line on this one? And how do you people, you know, you elect your own people from your own district and so forth. But unfortunately, once they get to Congress, they actually have a say in everything, even though they might have come from some really, you know, misguided people who keep her in office. All I can say to her people is, remember the Amazon center that she chased out of there, listen to the stuff that she says, and then look around your neighborhood. Because my understanding is like AOC's neighborhood is gone downhill big time. And it's just, anyway, crime ridden. It's not our district.
You know, Joe, it's not just evasion. It's not just creating an environment that makes it more dangerous for the police. It's also about misrepresentation and dereliction of duty. She's not following her oath of office.
That's a big thing, because, you know, when you do take the oath, we know what the oath is, but, you know, and it's to uphold the Constitution, enemies, foreign and domestic. So the economic consequences also in Boston here, if businesses continue fleeing Boston due to higher taxes and crime concerns, what happens to the city's long-term financial health? You know what happens to it. All right, we have to take our first break here. We'll go right to the phones on the other side. Mark's waiting patiently. We'll go to Mark when we come out of the break, but we do have to take the break here on the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. You can be part of the conversation at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Stick with us, folks. We'll be back in 2 and 10.
WCRN, where the left and the right meet in the middle. Whether you lean left, lean right, or just want to stay informed, WCRN has you covered with diverse voices, lively debates, and thought-provoking discussions. You'll hear it all right here. Radio Central.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
Every person is entitled to 30 fundamental human rights, such as the right to public assembly, education, freedom of expression, right to privacy. And you only need to do one thing to enjoy all 30 of them. Know them. Get your free human rights booklet today. Go to humanrights.com.
Know your human rights, just know your human rights.
Looking to add your talent to a dynamic company? United States Traffic Network seeks a motivated account executive to join the sales team. Send your resume to ustrafficnetwork.com/career.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second segment of the Thursday afternoon edition here of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN Radio Central. Don't forget, I do stream the show. You can listen and watch on Facebook, X, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and on Rumble. There is a Joe Mangiacotti Show channel on Rumble, and they are later loaded up. We will do all that live, but later the show is loaded up to Torch TV. That's a new streaming channel that you can find on your Roku, your Fire Stick, or your smart TV. Search for it, Torch TV. Download it like you would, Netflix or Freebie or Hulu or any of those programs, and you got some, I think, good programming. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let's go to the phones. Mark has been waiting patiently. Good afternoon, Mark. Happy spring to you. What say you?
What I say is this. I heard this morning audio clip. Pam Bondi. I don't know if she was at a presser. I don't know if she was at the Justice Department presser room. But anyways, it was an audio clip of her making a direct correlation. Not legally, but she heavily insinuated the connection between these attacks taking place on Tesla facilities and vehicles and domestic terrorism. All right? I know what she's doing, and she's very smart in doing it, what she's doing.
Yeah.
Okay? She's going to declare them, or thinking very much about declaring them domestic terrorists. Then they come over under a whole new category of possible charges that could be leveled against them. But I want to end with this by saying this. This is not protest. This is vandalism, Bolshevikism. That's what it is. And it's got to be stopped. And she's got to do it. She's in the catbird seat. Pam Bondi, and she's going to book these people. She's going to put them under federal custody. They have to be questioned as to where they're getting their money. Follow the money with these people, and you'll bust them, every one of them, and their bosses, the people who are signing these checks. Have a good one, brother.
Thank you, Mark. Always appreciate your call. And yes, they already identified where some of the money source on this. And that's actually the next thing I was going to bring up here. Thank you for the great segue, Mark. The FBI has launched a nationwide investigation into growing trend here of Tesla vandalism. And like Mark said, this is not protest. So sick of the media keep calling fires being set. Remember the now pretty infamous clip where the CNN Jamoke is sitting there saying these mostly peaceful protests as their building is burning behind them and people are running around like idiots.
Overturned vehicles.
Yeah, this was the whole, are you going to believe your eyes or what I'm telling you? Your lying eyes. Or are you going to believe my propaganda and my spin on this? So this is vandalism straight out. And I said yesterday, I think it was on yesterday's show, maybe it was Tuesday's show, at some point, look, something's going to happen. There's going to be a dog or a child still in one of these cars. They did arrest the Jamoke who keyed the Tesla in a shopping parking lot. You got to remember, there's a mode on these Teslas, by the way. It's called Sentry mode, Guardian. And when you park your car and you can leave your Tesla in Sentry mode, this turns 9 cameras on. So there's cameras watching almost every inch of the vehicle, and not to mention the fact that we are constantly, you walk out of your door, hell, before you walk out of your door, if you have a Ring camera or security system, you're on 5 cameras before you leave your house. So you are constantly on traffic cameras, ATM cameras, surveillance cameras all the time. These Jamokes are going to get caught. So this is vandalism. Now, from Los Angeles to New York, Teslas have been torched in parking lots. They've been spray painted with anti-tech slogans and targeted in what some are calling an eco-extremist movement. And there's an organization docking people. Now, when you get docked, that's when somebody is exposing your home address, maybe your phone number, personal email. They're telling people who you are, but where you live. And the only reason to do that is to bring harm to that person, or at least harassment. Well, no group has officially claimed responsibility. There is some online chatter that suggests radical environmental activists view Tesla, but more specifically, they view Elon Musk himself as symbols of corporate overreach in what they call greenwashing, rather than true environmental progress. Now, this is a guy that just brought back a couple astronauts. And again, there's controversy, right? The media, the legacy media, they're spinning the abandoned, or stranded, I should say, astronauts. And they were never stranded. They had a ride at any time. Well, why didn't they take it then? There was scheduling issues. Yes. The Boeing, capsule thing they went up there in, and I don't blame them for not wanting to get in that damn thing and come back either. And that's why they switched from blue to white astronaut suits, because it has to go with the synergism of the Dragon capsule. Those suits are tied in. I mean, everything that's Tesla, everything that's Elon Musk is very smart. Look, the guy is figuring out how to put the Neuralink into your brain so that paralyzed people can walk.
Those suits you're talking about are a really ingenious invention, because instead of air conditioning the entire cabin, they just air condition inside the suit.
Yeah. Now, when you get on the space station, that's a whole different thing. But for the traveling in the capsule, it's like an umbilical cord to the suit, and it's designed to work in the capsule and to keep everything going. And of course, they're monitoring all the life signs as well. But that's what they're looking at Elon himself, and they're going after the company. And that stupidity that Tampon Tim did the other day with, I put Tesla on my stock app so I can get a little boost when it drops down during the day. Now, JD Vance's response to this, or tweet back, was great. And when he said something to the effect of, when I want a little boost, I look at the picture of JD Vance in the White House and I think, thank God. It was a perfect comeback. Now, some on the left are even rationalizing these attacks, right? They're claiming Musk's ventures are just another version of capitalism exploiting the planet. I do not get this argument they have, or the thing they have against capitalism. Capitalism is why we have developed technology that can save the planet, technology that helps the planet. This is how capitalism has funded farming techniques and innovations, computers and energy. It's capitalism that has brought people out of poverty. And there are hundreds and thousands, I don't know I think 131,000. I don't know the number off the top of my head, how many people employed by Tesla. And then there's so much more with his other companies. How do you think the government works? Let's call it 130,000 people employed by all of Elon's companies. That's 130,000 incomes that are taxed, that pay into welfare systems, that pay into Social Security, that pay into Medicaid. This is what those people have: mortgages, they have car payments, they have credit card payments, they eat food every week, they buy clothes for their children. What do you think is making the world go round, folks? Meanwhile, conservative voices, they're pointing out the hypocrisy here. Why attack electric cars when the left claims to be pushing for the EV future to begin with? And why is the media so quiet on what should be a major domestic terrorism investigation? Someone is going to get hurt in one of these things. And it's not going to be funny. It's not funny right now. I mean, when we were watching, the split screen of watching the Dragon capsule parachute down, splash down, and the dolphins, pod of dolphins comes out to greet this thing. We're watching the other side of the screen, half a dozen cars being burnt up at a Tesla dealer in Nevada.
That's not protesting.
Exactly. It is not protesting. It is vandalism. It's criminal. You've got to make a distinction between freedom of speech and your right to, again, peacefully protest. And it was some New York, I don't know who was the Democrat politician that said, I forget who it was, so you can't hold me to this. It was somebody, it could have been a talking head, who said something like, I think it was a Don Lemon. It was somebody who said, show me where it says you have a right to peaceful. Oh, it was Cuomo. Yeah, I think, I don't know if he was still on CNN at the time. But anyway, look, this is selective outrage. If a conservative group was linked to similar attacks, would the media treat this differently? I'm thinking, yeah, they would.
There's so many better ways to do this sort of thing. And
in effective ways. This is totally ineffective. It's like the jamokes who block traffic. You're not doing anything for your cause. As a matter of fact, you are pissing off the people who are trying to get to work. Or in the case, there was one in France and one in Italy where there was a woman giving birth and the husband's trying to get her to the hospital. There was another one here in Boston with the ambulance that got stuck coming into Boston over the bridge. That they got to be held responsible for that. And this is a case of radicals eating their own. Why are Tesla and Musk suddenly the enemy? Musk and Tesla was wonderful. And I saw you last night, I think it must have been Fox, who put a montage on of all of these talking heads in the legacy media and in the CNN and MSNBCs of the world about how wonderful Elon Musk was and what a brilliant man he was, and Tesla's incredible, before he made the logical choice to support Trump. And of course, anything Trump, bad.
Whoops.
And no matter if it's at the expense of national security or public safety, as long as it's against Trump, we're okay with it. And what is the FBI's next move? And will they actually hold the perpetrators accountable? Under Pam Bondi, they will. But you got these DAs, most of them funded. Their campaigns were funded by George Soros, or one of his, keep safe or whatever that he calls his organizations. But folks, we have to take our mid-show break here on the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Back in 2 minutes, 10 seconds, folks.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. It's going to be gray and gloomy today with occasional mist and drizzle and fog. Temperatures are going to be stuck in the lower 50s. Overnight tonight, we've got a wave of rain that comes through. It's going to be after midnight and peaks early tomorrow morning. It's about a quarter to half an inch of rain, so we're not going to see any flooding or any issues like that, but it is going to be a wet morning commute. From there, Friday afternoon clears out with developing wind and highs only in the 40s. I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and you can hear Boston 25 live for the Morning Drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
More live and local radio is next. Stay tuned to Radio Central, 830 WCRN.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own, but MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show here on AM 830 WCRN, reminding folks, not only can you watch and listen to it on social media platforms at Joe Mangi Show, that would be X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and the Rumble channel. So several ways to do that. We also stream 24/7 on the TuneIn app. If you don't have it, it does take just seconds to download it, and you can take us anywhere or tell Alexa. Now, the other thing is, when I get off the air, yes, this is automatically loaded on the replay link at WCRNradio.com, but the Joe Mangiacotti Show is then turned into a podcast, which you can get and download off of Spotify or Google Play or wherever you get your podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or Podbean for that matter. So go check it out. I always post those links on my social media platforms. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. And reminding you that, this whole thing, by the way, that the attack I made reference to in Las Vegas on the 18th, this is where the assailant sent multiple Teslas on fire and fired gunshots. So think about this. And they found additional Molotov cocktails there. So he bombs the place, fires gunshots at Tesla facility while spray painting the word resist on its windows. Now, there's been other incidents, include a Tesla Cybertruck set ablaze in Kansas City, gunfire targeting Tesla dealerships in Oregon, and a Molotov cocktail attack on Tesla charging stations here in Massachusetts and South Carolina. Even internationally, Tesla facilities in France and Germany have also been set on fire. Now, Musk appeared on Hannity, Fox News, Hannity show. He does the radio show too, but it was the TV show. And he expressed shock over what he describes as escalating hatred and violence from the political left. He labeled the attacks as deranged and suggested that they may be coordinated by larger forces, pointing fingers at Democratic donors and activist groups. And according to Pam Bondi and the DOJ, they've identified some of these groups. And I think you're going to see arrests made. Ted, you wanted to say something?
Again, the effectiveness of this kind of behavior just escapes me. I mean, when you firebomb vehicles, they're insured. When you shoot guns into a Tesla dealership, it's insured. When all of these charging stations, heavily insured.
Well, that's my point.
And we're all going to pay the price.
Yes, these, and I'm not going to use the term protest, but these acts that you're doing are very ineffective to what you think you're achieving. Plus, they're criminal. Plus, you've just opened yourself. You are a criminal when you do this. You are subject to arrest and prosecution. And when you start firing guns, especially if you're a left activist, right? They're so anti-gun. This kills me that they're using guns, firing shots, which is extremely dangerous. You have no idea if you're randomly shooting into a Tesla dealership who's in there and where that bullet's going to end up. I highly doubt that these people firing the shots are trained gun, either sharpshooters or people who, I doubt they're a member of the NRA.
Joe, you're absolutely right. These people have increased their culpability it's astronomical now.
It's crazy. Just to finish on this thought, so AG Pam Bondi reinforced Musk's concerns, and Mark brought this up, calling the attacks nothing short of domestic terrorism. And that is a very deliberate action because it does elevate both the authority and scope that, say, the DOJ and FBI can operate. And the Justice Department has already charged several individuals, by the way, with some facing mandatory 5-year sentences. And Trump echoed the stance, stating that he would label Tesla vandals as domestic terrorists to ensure they face severe consequences. And they're going after them.
Joe, is it still a crime to incite violence?
Of course it is.
Well, then what the heck is going on? What are they waiting for?
I even think the little crap that Jimmy Kimmel pulled with mocking it and saying you shouldn't use vandalism or violence on a Tesla. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. Lines are open and available, but we do have a couple calls, so let's go to the phones. Ken first, who's been waiting patiently. Hey, Ken, what say you?
Hi, Joe. On the topic of your day, I guess next Saturday, the 29th, is the big national protest. And apparently, from what's been told, Boston's going to be ground zero.
For Tesla protest?
Yeah.
Oh, this is so ridiculous. Again, you're trying to hurt Elon. You're not going to hurt Elon. He can lose the $100 billion in valuation in the company, and it doesn't change his lifestyle one iota, by the way. But you will seriously affect, like the Tim Walz, right? He's out there with that app thing and going against Tesla. Does he not realize that there's something like, I don't know, I forget what the amount is, but there are millions and millions of dollars worth of Tesla stock in his state's retirement and pension fund that they're managing.
What a dope.
Not to mention the union.
Knucklehead.
Knucklehead. He's just a knucklehead. So what's more important? You're for now, I think he has 18 months left as governor. You are cheering for the demise of Tesla that would damage the pension funds of the state employees and the fund of the state union, because they own large, we're talking like $100 and some odd million worth of stock in these retirement funds. He is such a jamoke. So I didn't know about this. So what is it? March 29th is in Boston's ground zero for this stupidity?
You got it. We're out.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I hope that Kash Patel and DOJ find it necessary maybe to be in town when this happens.
Yep. The Bondi Patel Bongino law firm needs to get up and running.
Bondi, Bongino, and Patel et al. LLC. Yeah.
PPP.
No.
We can get some Libby wagons.
Hey, we have a texter who sent in, there's a Boston parking spot for sale, $750,000. But hey, it's valet and covered. Think about that. $750,000 for a parking spot in Boston, guys.
You know what, Joe? I've been a little lighthearted this week, and I'm on the same hits today. So I'm looking at the Babylon Bee and some great headlines. Federal judge orders astronauts to be returned to space station.
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't hear it right.
Federal judge orders astronauts to be returned to space station.
I thought I heard something about that. Yeah, they were ordered to go back up.
And on the same vein, federal judge orders price of eggs to go back up.
Wow.
But the one I really liked was liberal Tesla owners paint rainbow colors on car doors in hopes violent mobs will pass by.
The problem with the Babylon Bee, and not a problem, but what the irony here is sometimes the real headlines are more outlandish than what Babylon Bee comes up with.
Of course.
I watched one of these, I forget her name, I think she was on Gutfeld, and she was saying, we literally find ourselves, seeing real headlines that we have to look at each other and go, wait a minute, did we come up with that? Was that real? It's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. All right.
And then the final one, I don't know if people caught this story, but Democrats begin spray painting swastikas on dolphins. Because, it's dolphins that were following.
Yeah, the pod that showed up.
Came down.
It's bad, man. And I'm sure if they could have gotten to the Dragon capsule, they would have spray painted or done something to that as well. But it was in the middle of the ocean. And now is it Greenpeace? What is it? $660 million judgment because of what they were doing, the protests that they were doing, and the damage that they were doing with the pipeline under the water or the river in California. I mean, that would bankrupt them. Obviously, they're going to appeal it. but they came back with, I mean, that's got to be a record, $660 million. But
Yeah,
hey, remember, they were also the organization, Ken, that used to spike the trees. And there are a lot of lumberjacks, right, and forestry people that have permanently disfigured faces and they've lost limbs because of that. And spiking a tree, for those that maybe forgot what that was or never knew, they put metal spikes, bury them into the trees, so when they come along with chainsaws or even an axe, but they hit the spike in what should be a tree, and of course it breaks the chain or causes the chainsaw to break in front of them, but it comes back and it will take out an eye or break their face or even lose limbs. You know, so these,
It
again,
can kill you.
that's where some of the origin of the term domestic terrorist or environmental terrorist came from, is organizations that were supposed to be these peaceful protesting organizations that once again crosses the line into violence.
But they have nothing to worry about, Joe. A federal judge will set them free and demand documentation.
Yeah, this is a whole nother, and this is another topic I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to today, but I'll do it maybe in the last segment. And it is actually have to do with this showdown going on between the Trump administration, but actually the federal government and this jamoke of a judge. And there's got to be a point here where this guy is way out over his skis, Ken, and I think overstepped the scope of his authority and power as a little local judge. And look, the people elected this president, and they elected the policies that he was talking about. We know where he stands on all issues. There is nobody that should have a gray area when it comes to Donald Trump. And we knew exactly what he was going to do with immigration and illegals in this country, because he told us what he was going to do, Ken. And guess what? He just basically said, I am going to enforce the laws that exist, which means if you jump the line, you came here illegally, you entered this country and not through one of the 147 points of entry, but you came in illegally. And especially, Ken, these people have gone through multiple countries to get here. You cannot claim asylum when you had 2 or 3 ports that you could have settled in. Final thought before I get a break for the break here, Dan. Ken.
But I thought we had 700 commanders in chief.
Yeah, it seems that's what they think. Thank you for the call. We got to go. Dan, you're up next. When we come back from the other side of the break, we'll go right to the phones. Back in 2 and 10, folks. Stick with us.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own, but MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
This is Jerry Doherty, host of Making Money Last, right here on WCRN. Like all business owners, I'm interested in why people choose to work with Boston Independence Group. So I asked my clients. The most common response, Jerry does not try to be all things to all people. Boston Independence Group is specialized, focused solely on retirement planning. My customers enjoy the difference. We do one thing, and we do it exceptionally well. Help other people live better in retirement. That's it. If you're ready to retire or making plans to retire, we can do for you what we've done for hundreds of other retirees throughout New England. Live better in retirement. Just give me a call. I'll show you how. My toll-free number is 877-772-1776. Again, that number is 877-772-1776. And you can visit us on the web at bostonindependencegroup.com. bostonindependencegroup.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the fourth final segment here on the Thursday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. In Trump's deportation flights and the Constitution showdown, it's happening. Today was the deadline. I'll get into a little bit of that, but first, let's go to the phones at 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Hey, Dan, thanks for holding on, man. What's up?
Thank you, Joe. I'll chime in. Hold on a sec. I'll comment on that earlier call, Joe. If he goes and looks, this guy, Jamie Boasberg, was put in by Obama in 2011 as a federal judge, and it was Bush Jr. who put him in first, appointed him in 2002 to the Superior Court. Now, and then it's John Roberts who appointed him to the FISA court to go after Trump. So, this is like almost the uniparty right here in the Supreme Court in with the judges. It's crazy. And we know the uniparty exists, but I mean, this is classic right here. This shows you, and Amy Coney Barrett just is tied into this stuff as well through her husband. So tied to Chuck Schumer's brother, Robert Schumer, and Paul Weiss. He worked with those guys down in D.C. in the lobbying firm, and the biggest lobbying firm in D.C. in the sewer. So these people are dirty,
This is one of the reasons, or one of the thought processes behind someone like Kash Patel, who wants to spread the FBI out of D.C., right? He would be just as happy to move it to, I think it's Atlanta, that has a beautiful FBI building there, instead of spending $1 billion on a new FBI headquarters in D.C. He's saying why does it have to be in D.C.? And he already reassigned something like 1,000 agents to different field offices. And I agree with this. Trump has brought this up about why do all the agencies have to be in this beltway, especially things like why can't the Department of Interior be in Wyoming? Why does the EPA have to be there? Because these people, it's all incestuous, right? They're all traveling in the same circle. They go to the same cocktail parties, dinner parties, same holiday parties. They're marrying each other, and every once in a while, one of these publications will do a flow chart, and it's harder to translate that onto the air or audio. But I post it, and I do make reference to it, and I'll cover some of these things. But when you start finding out that, this talking head or producer or editor is married to or in a relationship with somebody that's in a key cabinet position in their administration, you start seeing this pattern of all of it, right? Is just it's just a big old incestual gang, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like William Burns and what was his? I forget it. I'm drawing a blank on his wife's name. Who was the UN ambassador? But they usually have different last names. But that being said, the caller can also look at his Jesse Barrett is also the lawyer for Fox Corp and Cox Communications, which both Ari Fleischer and Karl Rove are connected to. They're consultants at Viacom and Cox Communications, and Paul Ryan runs Fox.
Yeah,
so
they're all connected and all getting paid, and I'm thinking to myself, how come I can't get some of these paid gigs? Why can't I be a reporter director somewhere for $250,000? I mean, these people, money becomes, I don't know, I think money just becomes a given at some point, right? Because they're all putting each other on boards and appointing them, giving them jobs. And it doesn't matter if you go to work for the government for $100,000 a year or 70 or 96,000, whatever, if you're an E13 or whatever they call it, or G13, 3 is 16, 17. it seems like it doesn't matter. Look you've got the Chuck Schumer, right, making 173,000. What's his estimated? You see these articles, Dan, and you're not sure how accurate they are, but he's supposed to be $85 million. I don't know if that's accurate. Is that true? Then the question becomes, how do you become worth tens of millions of dollars on $173,000 a year? Well, you maintain two homes, right?
Big guy gets his 10%.
Well, that's what it comes down to. And why do you think they are out of their minds about the USAID?
Yeah.
Tons of this money going to these NGOs and these organizations, and then you find out, well, $1 billion goes to this marine fishery thing, and it's run by some senator's wife. And then you've got, the wannabe governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams, who still thinks she won, but that's okay, right? Trump can't say that. That's a crime if Trump says the election was stolen, but Stacey Abrams, she's still the governor. Couple $1 billion.
Yep.
And this organization was formed the year before with $100. I mean, that's where it's coming from. And you can't tell me that money's not getting filtered back to politicians. But when I say politicians, guys, I mean politicians and our family. Because look what Biden has done. The money would come into these, 17 LLCs, and then literally got distributed to all the Biden family members, including the babies who had LLCs in their name, and they're 18 months old. So this is how things are happening.
I guess babies can use auto pen too.
They can use auto pen. That was our 46th president. Man, Dan, another point?
Yeah, one more point. These people that are attacking the Teslas. Okay, these people are being paid to do this.
Yes.
They're giving them gift cards, $200, and if you're really good and you're like a leader, they give you like $1,000. This goes back to the Clintons being tied in back in the old days with the Weatherman Group with Bill Ayers and this lady, Neera Tanden. Okay, she's the key player in the Flower Group, which connects you to the Act Blue. And all this corruption is tied in with all they're paying for Black BLM and Antifa and causing chaos and violence and theft, and they're being paid to do it. And these people, okay, are also on top funding corrupt Marxist, socialist, communist Democrats. It's a breeding. They breed more Marxism in politicians and judges, for that matter. Yeah. And it's being funded by George Soros, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Melinda Gates, Bill Gates, Prince of Family, Klaus Schwab, Disney. That brings in ESPN and ABC. And these leaders to this is Norm Elson, Emily Kirby, and Vic Kristen Ford and Allegra Chapman. And
Dan, you're name dropping left and right here, man.
These two right there, they're heavily tied to AOC and helping AOC get elected several years ago. They're real friends. Those last two, Kristen Ford and Allegra Chapman, heavy tied in with and even I think it's one of them, Emily Kirby, her husband is connected to AI, George Hasbun, and the other one, Kristen Ford, I think she's a Carnegie. It's looking like she's a Carnegie. I was looking into that through media manager. She's a media manager of real relations of the Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie Corp. So
interesting.
It's just and the Carnegie, that leads you. William Burns' family is tied to the Carnegie. So it's just a breeding.
It is. We got it then. I got to hold you there. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. And you always bring a lot of that information as to these connections within it. Again, thank you for the call. Folks, we're running against the clock, but just this deportation flights issues in the Constitution, Trump administration, it's locked in, and basically this is a high stakes battle right over this because of the fallout of what it's going to mean here, right? The deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members, and the judge as we referenced earlier, Bosberg. He issued this order to halt the deportation flight, and the left is saying that it was ignored. Now, one thing about Trump, he doesn't actually ignore it. I know the left keeps saying that, but and he was in, I think, last night with Laura Ingraham, and she asked him specifically on that, and as he answered with Hannity and others, no, he does follow it. Now, he'll appeal it, and he'll fight it all the way to the Supreme Court, but he does not ignore or go against any court order. He might talk about it because he's Trump, and he's going to bitch about it and post about it. Now, the Justice Department, that's, of course, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she argues that the judiciary is interfering in executive authority. And I agree with that. There comes a point, look, the powers of the presidency are very specific, and that a judge deciding that they don't like the policy should not be able to change the policy. That's way over their head.
The best example I've heard is, should a district judge or a judge of any sort in the judiciary be determining where our military aircraft are going?
Yeah, no, because again, it's above their pay grade. They don't have the access to the intelligence in the briefings. Now, Trump called for Bosberg's impeachment, which has every right to suggest that happened, sparking a response from John Roberts, the Chief Justice, which he should be very careful, in my opinion, in what he says and where he comes down. He should not be appeared to, because the optics of taking a side on any of this. And then Caroline Leavitt accused Bosberg of undermining the will of the American people, which, of course, he is doing. We know what we were going to get when this happened. Now, the administration is considering invoking state secrets doctrine to withhold details about the flight. And the case is being closely watched here as a significant test of course, the executive power and the separation of powers. And you cannot have, and this isn't even SCOTUS, right? We're talking about a local district judge that is going to dictate what a president can do or can't do. I don't know. This doesn't make a lot of sense with me. Executive authority versus judicial oversight. Is Trump's administration justified in asserting broad executive authority over immigration and national security? Yeah, I think he is. But this will wrap up the Thursday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Not back tomorrow, back Monday at 1. Tomorrow at 1, of course, the Carr Brothers. And right now, after the Joe Mangiacotti Show, Frankie Boyer is coming your way. So stay tuned. Joe out.
This is